process to go through.
And additionally, we've been working with David Stokes to sort of work out other processes. And
so Dave was totally instrumental in helping me create this presentation for DCJ on what would be involved. And he and I both did the research, and he was wonderful to work with. So we've, created that collaborative, kind of relationship with Dave. He works in Melbourne, and he also does audiobooks, but his specialty is in self-narrated books. So certainly when I get people approach me who want to self-narrate, I pass them on to Dave because he will help set them up, especially when they're not in Sydney. In Sydney, we could do that through the Powerhouse Museum and with Marty.
Speaking of, I was there last week and I looked up at the studio and it looked good. Yeah.
It's a beautiful museum. Yeah, and his office is sort of up there with big windows. So I'm looking forward to doing more work there this year with Marty.
Sorry, back to Dave.
We've got two, neurodiverse people here, sort of like segueing all over the place. So, so Dave, he has got a system in place that, allows people who want to self-narrate to do it in a really effective way, in a high quality way. So he was happy to collaborate with me, to create this presentation and just nut through what would be involved, how long it would take, what resources are necessary, and to be able to scale up and down. So we've got that model ready if anyone is interested. If there's a government department out there who would like to offer some, kind of publication for free to the public, then this is Spotify and YouTube are so accessible to so many people.
All over the world. Like if you want to put a link on your website, the chances of someone Googling that to find it, pretty minuscule. But if you have a platform like YouTube or Spotify where you can then, try and
leverage it up. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot more accessibility.
Yeah. And those spaces, YouTube and Spotify, are not crowded by a lot of narrations.
I was going to say, YouTube's crowded by a lot of cat videos.
That's right. And with the visuals, like you can, you use the cover of the book. You can use, different chapter, kind of visuals, and a little bit of music, and you've got a really beautiful kind of offering to the world. So, yeah.
So, essentially, we've done a lot the past year. From fiction to academic, to anthologies,
memoir.
A lot of contacts, a lot of now add-on services that you can offer authors. A few meetings with publishers that are happening, that are going to happen.
Is it about time we launched? What do you think?
Could be launch time. I'm always up for a party. But where do you see Audiobooksradio going this year? What would you like?
I'd like to not have a plan.
Yeah.
Because this area is so organic, and it's also very personal and intimate. The whole process that we've developed for authors and small publishers is one that is quite immersive and allows each book to be treated like a theatrical production. Yeah, we've got a hands-off process as well that's possible, but my experience is that most authors want that level of input, and the systems that we've taken great pains to develop, to the point where I was boring everyone to pieces of my acquaintances and professional colleagues, on how these back-end systems would work, have borne fruit in terms of making it easy for the publisher, for the author to be able to, for instance, direct the scene of each of their chapters within minutes, but also gets them to relive their book and to make sure that all corrections, are minimal. And also it is so satisfying to the narrator. The narrator, we establish a relationship between the narrator and the author right from the get-go, and it always seems to be very exciting for the narrator. They get to know who it is that's created this book that they're going to be.
And the project manager, that they're assigned a project manager, according to interests, according to what the book's about, align that up as well.
Yep. So you've got a whole kind of team of people along with the audio engineer who are totally invested in the beauty and particularity, uniqueness of that book. So everyone becomes very close. The narrator receives those directions, is able to really live the book regardless of what the subject matter is, and then be able to finish it with as few corrections as possible and with as much enjoyment as possible, and as much dramatic effect. That was one of the things that Kristen, when you listen to Kristen's presentation, one of the things that has become critical in the audiobook world in terms of feedback from listeners is the quality of the voice. So a lot of people think they can kind of cut corners by narrating themselves. Very respectfully saying this, I've narrated a book. I will never do it again. It is such an exhausting, kind of a process. And even though I was really happy with the results, I was the author, I thought, I'm not the professional here. From now on, I'm going to leave it to the professionals.
And you have had a lot of experience talking on radio.
I know.
And podcasts, so it's not like you are unfamiliar with that world. So you do have training in it.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I did have training in it. And still, I think a person who is a performer has an extra level that is required. And that's where, coming back to Kristen's point, the quality of the voice. So people whose audio, narration or sound is not at the level that people expect these days. And I think the expectation has grown, because people have been listening to podcasts for a long time and their ear has become more refined. And where they would have been able to tolerate maybe, sort of like a less than perfect voice for that book, I don't think they do anymore. And that's the biggest barrier for them continuing to listen. So
just skip on and move on. Too many books to listen to.
Exactly.
Skip on.
Exactly. And if it tires the ear, and if it's a strain, or you don't like the voice, you're going to stop listening. And we don't want people to stop listening. We want them to be as if they're turning the page and cannot wait to finish. Yeah.
And that's what we've found too. There's been feedback where there are other audiobook production companies, but they're more of a sort of flat pack service.
Yes.
Where that's not to say that they might not be quality, but it's just, basic stock standard. It's a little bit detached. The relationships aren't there. I think what our authors have experienced is a very bespoke, very personalised, very intimate sort of service where, we really do care about the author and we elevate them, and it's about making it a fun, beautiful, enriching experience for them.
Yeah, definitely. And also listening to their work. I mean, we're both writers. Everyone who's in our team are creatives. You experience that manuscript and that book in an oral format, and it's very exciting. Very exciting. And look, the flat pack service does require you, I think, to then choose your own voice. So people come in individually. Whereas what we do is we've already got, people on our list.
About 100 at the moment.
Yeah.
Plus the Vision Australia.
Plus Vision Australia,
Plus the call out we do.
Yes. Yeah. And then we've also joined some performers circles. so that we reach out as widely as possible for absolutely the right voice. We define the voice. We then do the call out using a part of the script, and then we kind of we sift down the 4 or 5 voices that we think, according to our conversations with the author, are absolutely spot on. And I remember this meeting I had with the publishers just on Friday. They were saying, but what if you don't find the right narrator? And it was like,
that's not the problem.
That is never the problem. The problem always is, which one will I choose? Because it's an embarrassment of riches. In Australia, we just have so much talent. So much talent. Yes, you can ask for a name. We've dealt with the agents love us, we love the agents, we can deal with all that. That's great, that's fantastic. But there are so many people who are not known names, who have got the most incredible voices. You just want to keep on hearing them forever.
One of our favourite talents is, in a play right now for almost 2 months, and it's going incredibly well.
Yes.
Another one is about to be in a TV advertisement.
Yes.
With a starring role, so
and both those guys were there during the the January festival, Sydney Festival, so in various plays. So that's never going to be a problem. I think I just was aghast. I actually couldn't understand the question. I said, you know what? The contract will be void. That's my promise to you if you cannot find the right narrator, because I just know that's never going to happen. Yeah. So how exciting.
2023.
Yeah, no plans. Just let it grow, in the same way that it did last year. Keep it as intimate as possible. Be able to train up some more project managers so that we're able to deal effectively and as intimately with a number of projects. Although last year we were dealing with 4 or 5 projects at the same time.
Yeah.